King Tut's tomb. King
Mm.
Tut was originally buried in Mammoth Cave in Kentucky,
Mm.
right? And then his father, Akhenaten, was buried in the Grand Canyon. That's why they couldn't find him over there.
Mm. I'm only like an hour. I'm like 90 minutes away from Mammoth Cave, Kentucky.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
you go to
had
Mammoth
when
Cave, it leads you to Hollow Earth.
they first found King Tut tomb, the local newspapers had articles about the discovery. Then they tried to cover it up. The Smithsonian came in and changed the whole narrative in the newspaper by putting retraction stories in the paper.
I also heard that they had found it in the Grand Canyon. I don't know if they
And
probably
that was
took it from.
Akhenaten's tomb.
Yeah, that's who it was. Yeah.
They, but a lot of people think it was Tut because it's his father's tomb. Akhenaten's tomb was in the Grand Canyon, along with several other prominent members of the Kemetic royal families or the Atlantean royal families. But we
Mm-hmm.
used to go travel the world. I mean, we used to go through a gateway in Arizona in the Grand Canyon and walk out in the pyramid over in Giza. All
Mm-hmm.
that stuff is closed down, but the then you can still get to other temple sites from Arizona, so they got it militarily zoned off. If you could try to go down there, but you in the middle of the damn desert, and here you get this dude gonna pop out with a whole black suit on
Mm-hmm.
in the desert, a three piece suit,
Majestic 12.
and he gonna have some kind of semi-automatic firearm on him. He's
Mm-hmm.
not gonna have on military fatigues like you would expect. He gonna be in a suit and a tie in the desert. You've been to the desert before, ain't you?
Yeah.
How you feel wearing a suit and
It's
tie in the desert?
just hot
And
as hell. Shit.
then, and the crazy part is you're gonna be like, where the hell he come from? They don't pull up on
Mm.
you in no car. They just walk up on out of nowhere. Like, where the hell you just come from?
I
They
heard they
there
got a
though.
lot of hidden. I heard they got a lot of hidden doors in those rocks, and they also heard they have teleportation, cloaking technology. Like they can throw a blanket over them, and the blanket in itself it bends the photon subatomic particle to the point where it gives off the point where you're looking at a translucent figure.
Yeah. Or it's like projecting what's behind them in front of them.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. They actually got those for sale. You can actually buy some of those now.
Yeah, I seen one of those mirrors. I think I seen one like that on Amazon, I believe. It was for
Yeah.
sale. But they definitely
Fucking,
got that type of
fucking like,
technology.
yeah. But I'm trying to figure out why the hell you in the desert with a suit on. You know they
Right.
had to be somewhere air conditioned wherever you came from.
hmm I don't know. I guess it's kind of like one of those things. It's a part of their codex or whatever, like a suit. Because I know a suit is in itself is a form of the veneration of Freemasonry.
Yeah. Well, I know that's what all that lapels, all that's Masonic code. Lapels, um,
Lapel.
the lapel on your suit, the collar
Oh,
part that
okay,
come
okay, okay.
down.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. The
that's Masonic. Bow ties, neckties, those are all Masonic symbols. Lapel pins, the handkerchief, all the cufflinks. That's all Masonic.
mm. Yeah, that's what I was saying. That's why I try to tell people. I said we wouldn't wearing no motherfucking suits and have paperwork, nigga. We had feathers and, like you said, feathers and traditional or tradition, like you said. Everything
Yeah,
was based
we
on.
did keep records, but they burnt that shit up.
Mm-hmm.
Like in Macomb, Mississippi, where a lot of our family records was, they burnt the library down, and they burnt the courthouse down, and they burnt down several churches to get rid of records.
Mm.
Like everybody down there know it, but we don't really care because we still on the land. This is where the problem come in at. We still on the land. They keep telling us they stole our land. Possession is 9/10 of the law, and we standing on
Right.
it. Possession 9/10 of the law, and we 10/10 of the owners.
Mm.
So we got the sacred 19 over us. We got the right to reclaim it, following our
Right.
system. If we follow their system, we don't got no rights. Under our system, we got all the rights in the world and the
Right.
rights in the universe and the galaxy. Right? So this is why you rely on your tribal culture to navigate out of this legal fictional culture. Right? Because only by the tribal culture would you see it. You won't see it following a system because it's designed to blind you in plain sight to the what you see. It's
Mm-hmm.
designed to teach you to not exercise critical thinking, practical problem solving skills. The system designed that way. So
Mm-hmm.
you have to say, well, you got to always be asking yourself, well, if I wasn't in this system, would I be thinking this way? And the more you realize that you wouldn't be thinking a lot of the times, you'd be thinking about stuff a certain way, and you'd be like, if I wasn't in this system, hell no, I wouldn't be thinking that old sick ass shit.
That's a fact.
Well, yeah, I'm only think that shit because I'm bombarded with that shit,
Mm-hmm. That's
right?
a
It's
fact.
like children. Children don't be thinking about half the shit adults be accusing them of thinking about. Ain't even on their
Mm-hmm.
mind. Babies trying to have fun. That's it. And you accused the little 2-year-old girl of trying to be a grown woman. She ain't thought about being no grown woman.
Right.
She trying to imitate the females around her until she can find her own groove.
Mm-hmm.
And it just so happened you keep her up in grown folks' conversations like she grown. So of course she act like she grown. That's all she talk to.
Socialization.
Yeah, yeah. And that's why the structure in the at the family's firm was always based on the age brackets. Like we didn't have playpens. We put them on the front porch and let them crawl around the picket porch, and with a
Mm.
swinging gate on it at the big house. That's where all the babies was at. And then you had the mothers was helping oversee the babies, or they was doing something to assist with the house duties. You had the 9 mother aunties. They got the toddlers to the 10-year olds, the
Mm.
3 to 10-year olds. They got them out in the front yard.
Mm-hmm.
Right, that's where the whole saying "don't jump off that yard if you ain't ready to run with the big dogs." That's where it comes from. So
Talk about jumping off the porch.
yeah, don't jump off
Yeah.
the porch because the little boys want to play with the big boys because they boys, but they ain't did nothing to toughen themselves up for it. So when they first get out there, they gonna get smashed and
Mm-hmm.
they gonna cry because they still children, but they trying to be like the big boys.
Mm.
Daddy gonna come over and say, "Yep, that's what happened when you play with the big boys. Get up, dust yourself off, stand back out there and try it again." Mama gonna, "Oh my poor baby." No,
Mm-hmm.
mama, don't poor baby. And he out there with the big boys. Let him be a big boy.
Mm-hmm.
Then 3 years later, he the leader of the team. He quarterback. he can't
Yep.
barely see over the lane, outperforming everybody out there. They can't catch him when he run or nothing. But remember, when he first went out there and got knocked on his ass, he was a crybaby.
Right.
But he had to break out of mama's teachings in order to step into daddy's teaching.
Mm.
He had to break out of the boy's desire for the affection for the father's authority and rulership to teach him self-discipline and how to stand up to outside threats. This is why they don't want no fathers in the house.
Facts.
When father in the house, a boy gonna stand up when it's time to stand up. Ain't no father in the house. The boy is always wondering if he stand up, if mama gonna get mad.
Mm.
If he stand up, is he gonna make his sister upset? He worried about the women being upset when the burglar coming in the house. He don't know what to do, so he freeze. That's
Mm.
too much. That's too much guessing time right there. Can't guess when
Right.
you can't guess when the enemy at the gate. If you trying to be a warrior or not, you need to already be that. But most people don't want the warrior around until they need one. Most people don't want the warrior around until they need a warrior. But when you need a warrior, sometimes it's too late. You ran all the warriors off because they didn't agree with everything you said and kiss your ass all the time.
Right.
Because warriors not gonna do that. And because you want it your way, you think that you can treat all of the warriors like shit. And then we fall into a war, you ain't got no protection. Now you running up under somebody else's warrior.
You see that shit with the street women nowadays. They jump from one street dude to another street dude. You
And
either get locked up or you
trying to
get
move up in
killed.
power. Yep.
Yep.
They trying to
Same
move up in
thing.
power too. But never knowing that she got more power than all them niggas if she just walk in her divine feminine, they gonna melt at her feet anyway.
Yep.
If
And
she
that's
just
why I
knew,
keep telling women. Go ahead.
yeah, if she just knew that one little part, it'd change the whole dynamic of the streets. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
chicks don't want to sell sex, but they sell sex because they don't know who they is yet.
Mm. And that's the main reason why I keep telling people women they have so much power over this great awakening period because they can shift the mindset. They can shift the vibration. If women was like, I ain't messing with no dudes, if you ain't reading, you ain't working out, you ain't doing nothing self-affirming to where you better in yourself or whatever, it's closed shop for you niggas that's not tapped into that energy. I bet you this whole thing will change 360. You know what I'm saying? As far as like, men, fulfilling their roles,
You talking about
and
that'll drag so many people out the closets. You would be
yeah. Yeah, that
it.
too.
It'll drag a whole
Facts.
bunch of people out the closet. I'm
That's a
telling you,
fact.
that making a man stand up to be a man is gonna drag all. They gonna just start putting on lipstick. Like fuck it.
That's it's a socialization process too though. So yeah,
Yeah.
I can
Then
see
now,
it.
not only that though, if you surrounded by women that's in their divine feminine, three of them or more, you can't be miserable. It's not possible. Your mitochondrial is pumping so much love frequency through your cells that all you can do is glow. Especially if they all
Mm.
love you. Have to see the great reckoning. And the great reckoning is the resolution, the final resolution to the Constitution. Remember, they violated their oath to the Constitution. Therefore, the Constitution was used as toilet paper. And since they used the Constitution for toilet paper, now it's time for us to show them how to properly clean their ass. So this is
Mm-hmm.
a valid
Mm-hmm.
format in social media platform with a reach that extends beyond 1,000 people. It's time stamped in archivable format for posterity and for legal criteria to be met for all public notice. And with that, it's on you, Al. Roll the corn.
Right. Hey, you want to start with the shout out Chiefess Cynthia for the super chat. Hey, you want to start with the small stuff first, and then we get into the 7-minute tapes. Cause we got a couple of small things we just got to go over
Okay.
that people wanted
You
to ask about. It's about the Venezuela. I got like a couple clips on.
okay, but look, you the director.
Huh?
You the director, right? You don't when you
Let's go ahead.
directing the show, you don't ask the guest on the
I
show
got you.
how to direct the show. You direct the show, and the guest gonna come along and they gonna help you with the show. The white sands in the Americas and the old footprints, right? And he was talking about. Remember, we told you the out of Africa theory stems from the historical narrative given from a European perspective, or what they call a Eurocentric view of her historical record. Notice he said that the history hasn't changed in 2,000 years. 2,000 years ago, there was no concessions in what we call today the Middle East for the presence of people in the Americas, right? You had to be a high ranking priest with access to the portal gate to go from Kemet to Arizona, right? If you wasn't a high ranking priest, you had access, so therefore that information don't exist to you. Now, when they give us this narrative of history, none of it is considering anything in the Americas as a historical perspective from Herodotus' viewpoint. You got to remember, who was Herodotus? He was a Greek philosopher, right? That means he was from Greece, and the Greeks was being civilized in Egypt, they didn't have their first university was set up on the island of Crete in about 300, circa 325 AD or BC, I mean, right? That was their first university. The university was set up by priestesses that was sent to civilize Greece and to teach them matriarchal culture, what they call Hellenistic culture. It's named after Hela, the goddess, Helen, the catalyst for what they call the Trojan Wars, right? Or the Spartan Wars. They got different names for it. Now, in the Greek civilization, Helen is Hela. At the beginning of Ragnarok, there's a Odin or Zeus, whoever the father of Thor and Loki is going into his 1,000-year sleep. So he's leaving them in charge, but it's a problem. Once he leaves, Thor and Loki discover that their sister, Hela, has returned to reclaim her seat on the throne. What throne is she referring to? They keep pointing, because the show is Ragnarok, they keep pointing to Asgard. It wasn't Asgard. It was the Earth throne, the matriarchal, or what we call the sacerdotal seat. The sacerdotal seat is the supreme earth seat of the Great Mother. The Black Madonna holds her child and delivers the message to the public that unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given. He was waiting to be devoured by the dragon. But Big Mama steps in and blocks the dragon and catches the baby with her own hands. This is the story, right? Now, because all of a woman's eggs are in her at birth, every grandchild is still a child of that mother. So this is how the Big Mama hold the maternal right, because she carried the baby 9 months before her daughter ever conceived to carry it 9 months, right? So they have to adjust for the sacerdotal seat, the seat of the Great Mother, who was displaced from her throne in the Anunnaki Wars, right? Which took us to the second video. When I was telling y'all there's been a civilization under the ice, that serves as a receipt. Because I've been telling people for 5 years almost that under the ice of Antarctica, there was a frozen civilization that could telepathically communicate with the people that was coming down there to give them information, to teach them how to thaw them out from the frozen ice. But he mentioned something else, Agartha. Agartha is in the center of the earth. The torsion field version of Earth is not the same as the infinite plane version of Earth, which is not the same as what they call the concave or convex image of Earth. These is different levels of spiritual beings looking at the Earth. If you don't have a 3-dimensional paradigm, you will not see the round Earth. If you're stuck in the 4th dimension, everywhere you look is an infinite plane because all is mind. And the map across the mind takes you across what they call the checkerboard floor, right? When I was a little boy, I used to press my eyeball. It'll go dark. But if you hold it for a second, the checkerboard floor will appear. But the only reason it's appearing is because of a significant blood quantum or quotient of divine blood. You can't see the checkerboard floor if you don't understand the optics. And that's why when I first started studying the eyeball, I press the side of my eyelid right here. My eyeball, it'll go dark. And if I continue to hold it, and I can see with my spiritual eye, there's a checkerboard there. The checkerboard is the 5th dimension. And it's on the 5th dimension where the game of the gods is played that affects the 3 dimension. So these people when I told you the Bershanga tribe didn't come from Africa, they was already there. This is basically what they confessing to in the second video. That it was already people there. They been there, right? They was under the ice, and he calls it an ice wall. It's a shelf, right? Now, remember that big mountain out west? They call it Devil's Mountain or Devil's Peak, where they had close encounters of the third kind, delivering the aliens delivering the abductees back on top of that mountain.
Right.
Right. Now, imagine that multiplied